I sent it already. Cool.
Been better.
Good.
Yeah.
How's it going with like the reinforcement? Did it make sense after last class, like just utilizing the remote and reinforcing things?
Yeah. He got a little excited out of that Uber, but yeah, around our house he's been good. We've been working on the commands and.
Yeah. I think I'm the only one who uses this, but
I use it.
Any questions from the stuff we went over before?
From the stuff before, I think we're good.
Okay. Any questions that we have not related to stuff before?
I guess we'll work on the recall today, so
Yes.
I'll just figure out that stuff and ask questions as it comes.
Sure.
But do you have any questions?
no, I mean, he does come back when I have to use the thing, though. I mean, otherwise he doesn't listen.
Right.
If I'm not using it, he's just doing his own thing.
Right. So, with dogs, anyone with humans, right? The remote, think of it when you need it, right? So, like outside is when people need it. You got dogs, you got scents, you got distractions, you got people cooing at them, right? You have all these things to contend with.
Yeah.
Because that's where it really comes into play, right? Now, within the home, most people don't need it if the dog's a good dog or like whatever, right? And like, let's say, for instance, calling the dog to go for a walk. That's like the most, actually, the last client I just talked to right now, who had that issue, like, we call the dog in the house and she doesn't immediately come, but outside she's great. I'm like, yeah, like, it's, like my dog does the same thing. I personally don't care because it's within the home. Like, what's going to happen, right? But outside, my dog is fast, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really have an impact on training because it's all about context. That's how dogs learn, okay? So he's like, I know outside at the park, boom, I have to do it. Inside the house, I can get away with being a little brat. Now, if you wanted him to respond within the home like that, then you'd have to practice within the home.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I've been just practicing like certain commands with this in the home. For example, when I tell him to like lay down, he won't do it unless
You tap him.
I tap him.
Okay, and what are you tapping him at?
We have it at 20.
20? Okay, so let's say you say Hopkins down, right? And he like looks at you, he's like, nope. And you tap him at 20 and then he does it.
Yep.
And it's that constant process. Then you start to play with going up a little higher. Okay, so I might be 20, and then if you've learned in the past 2 weeks, I have to always do 20, then I go to 24. Okay, and what you're trying to find is a number that's not going to be too abrasive that it'll catch him off guard, but he'll think to himself, when mom says down,
Sit.
I better just do it because I don't want that to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we'll review a couple of down. Yep. Okay. And when you do the down,
Up, down.
you don't have to use the hand. The hand is in case you need to reinforce, right? So
Down.
here,
Oh.
just tap,
Yeah.
Down.
tap, 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 right there. Tap,
Down.
tap, tap, no repeats, tap, tap. So I'll keep your foot in the leash. Tap, right there. Okay, so you actually want to do less. Okay, you get more from less. So here, because you went down and then you were pushing,
Doing too
and
many
then
things at
you were
once,
stepping,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
she was
Okay,
pressing
yeah,
the button, right?
Too many things.
So we'll simplify it. You step on the leash, down, right? And I let the remote do all the work for me. I refrain from the hand because ultimately this is what's going to lead to him just doing it. Because this he wants to stop. Okay, this is uncomfortable. Nobody likes being in an uncomfortable situation or being in discomfort. You think, how do I get this to stop? How do I remove myself from the situation, right? Same thing for Hopkins, okay? So it's just finding what number is going to motivate him that he wants to listen to down when you say down and not this whole process, right? So what's your number now?
It's still 20.
20, okay? So then, did you know, like right when I just said simplify it? There. Okay? So
Yeah.
humans tend to repeat a lot. They tend to, because you have all these approaches that I gave you, right? So think of the hand motion is if I said down and I'm tapping and Hopkins is going like this, he's panicking. I'm not doing anything other than pressing the button, right?
Okay.
And he looks clearly panicked. Then very light touch. And he feels, he goes, oh, he lays down, right? It's not about physically
Right.
overpowering him. It's just a very subtle touch that he goes, oh, this means to lay down. Okay, that's what they wanted me to do to help him through the panic.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if it's down and I'm tapping him, he's kind of like fidgeting a little bit. He's like, what do I do
Doesn't
here?
wanna do it,
He's
really.
trying to figure it out, right? Take your time. Don't repeat. Okay. Repeating is
That's a tough
again
one.
human habit because we're used to words, right? So what ends up happening is you get in the habit of down, 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 and then finally you reach the number, or that happens, that he learns to ignore 5 downs before you'll actually reinforce it. That's why it's first command, or the initial command, make it happen. Okay, so this is super common, okay? And that's why with board and train it's a little harder, because obviously we're trainers, we don't do a lot of stuff that people naturally do, right? So you're coming in with these habits, and now I have to like dissuade the habits, as opposed to when I work with clients privately and I teach them, from the get-go, I'm already saying don't do this, don't do that, until they don't ever develop those habits for the most part, okay? So it should always be easy, okay? If it ever feels like it's a struggle, we're doing something incorrectly, okay? And it's either we're repeating a lot, we're moving a lot, we're doing a lot of stuff. Because for Hopkins, if you say down and you start moving with him to like reposition, it keeps him moving. Yeah, you just plant yourself, right? You just step on the leash, down, and by you doing that, you're limiting the range of motion, right? So if Hopkins does move, he's not going to get very far.
Right, so keeping the foot on the leash is a good idea then?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I would do is prior, because I saw you set up, right, is I would have stepped on the leash first, so I limit range of motion, then down, then kick in with remote.
So he knows a little bit more when I'm leading him with the leash. Yeah.
Correct, right? And you don't have to worry too much about having neck pressure, more so just limiting how much can he fidget.
Right.
Because if you give him the whole leash, then we get all this, okay? Because you're building off the foundation that we had him for what? It was a week, right? Yeah, we had him for a week. So he knows the cues, he knows the pressure and how to turn it on and off and stuff. Now it's a matter of rehearsing it so that you don't you don't need the leash anymore. It's just Hopkins down, right? But that takes more time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Questions?
You're good in that area, yeah. We just got to be better about not repeating so much. And
Yeah, and catch each other.
Yeah.
You know, like I pointed out, because I want to make you self-aware, and then you want to catch yourself, right? So it's like Hopkins down. Oh, remote, okay? I'd rather you delay the remote and not say the down than to repeat the down and kick it with the remote at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sooner or later, you're going to create the good habits and then stop the bad habits. When doing the down in the home, at this stage, you want the leash. Okay, make life easier. When you've done it, is he sans leash or?
He's off the leash, yeah.
Because to build to off leash reliability, it's longer time. Okay, so for us, it's like a 4-week process. With my clients individually, it's a 12-week process that I'm gradually building.
Okay.
Right. So what we're going to teach you today with the recall stuff, again, you would need to practice until you get it to that point. Because the other thing is, life isn't black and white, right? Not every day that you have with Hopkins is going to be perfect. Maybe you're out with him, he's great, obedience is awesome, you've done your homework, he's responding really well, super simple, but then someone sets off a huge firecracker in the middle of the park and it spooks him, and now he's running.
Right.
How do you fix that problem? Yeah. There you go, right? You don't know because you've never been there before, right? I've been there before, so I coach my clients through it. And even before the end of their programs, I'll give them like, as FYI, this is how it works, because you're not in obedience mode because he's not doing anything bad, and it's not like, hey, we're running around, he's fetching ball and stuff. It's just something happened, scared my dog, and now he's under stress, and now he's running away. So how do I use this tool to make him return? Okay, so that's like a different aspect that people typically don't think about, but that's what I train for. Is I don't want that to happen and you not be equipped to handle it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So here, he got bored, he started to get up, he's like, Jesse, you're yapping your mouth too much, right? And we gave him a couple of taps, he went back down again. Super simple, okay? So he clearly has a concept of everything. It's just a matter of, again, making sure we're practicing it the correct way. Because if it's kind of like if someone's panicking, another person's panicking, like everybody's panicking, as opposed to like someone just taking control, saying, like, hey, I know it's shit show, settle down, we're gonna do this, we're gonna walk out the store, we're gonna go down the stairway, we're gonna go out this way, right? So it's kind of the same thing here. It's like, what do we do? And everybody's just like running around, and so you're creating a bigger energy. As soon as we tapered it down, made it very simple, there he goes. Okay? And this goes with everything. The sits, the down, the place. The heel and the recall are a little bit easier because it's not so much about being stationary in a specific position. It's just walk beside me and don't pull me, and come when I call you.
Right.
Okay, so it's a lot more simpler. Okay.
Got it.
Questions about that stuff?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Good. And did you see the video? Did you get a chance?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So that's always there for your reference, and then of course these videos as well. If you just go to my channel, you look up Hopkins. You know, if you get another Hopkins, you might see them, but you'll get see his videos right there. So if you ever need a refresher, okay.
Great.
So we're going to clip both leashes to him. So he's going to have 2 leashes clipped onto the same ring here. Up, tap, tap. So correct this,
sorry.
tap, tap,
Here, I'll clip them.
tap. It's okay. So first, correct the issue. Tap, tap, tap. Okay, tap. 1 second. All right, now wait a moment. So what you want to do here is we have 2 options, okay? Because when you came into Hopkins' space, what happened?
Get up.
Right?
Yeah.
So he's assuming you're going to let him go, right? So it's either 1, we release him prior, or 2, you use this to your advantage and say, you're going to stay down while we do this stuff, okay? Because he's going to be distracted. Now what happens is, right there I said, wait, right? Everybody stop, correct the problem first. He goes in position, and then we would go back, tap, tap. We would go back to trying to leash him, okay? So when you work with Hopkins on your own time, I would suggest, tap. What's your number?
Let's look fine.
20, let's go to 28. We're gonna look at Hopkins here.
Okay, leave it or something? Or?
So you have 2 options here.
Yeah.
If he goes for something, you could say leave it and tap, right? That means you can't have it, or you just tap, okay? If you want to eliminate something, you just tap, okay? Because he's thinking, if I try to grab something, this automatically happens.
Okay, eliminate.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to control something, which is, let's say you're playing fetch with Hopkins, he's got a ball,
Yep.
tap, 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 yep, you're correct, tap, tap, up, there you go, tap, 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 there. So, when you want to control something, like right there, you would say drop. You know, drop the ball, because you want to control, you don't want to eliminate the ball through your thing, okay? Now here, you went to 28, you went to pick up a stick, right? We didn't say anything. You tapped him, he spit it out, but then he broke position.
Right. So, yeah, that's the other thing. I think you said if he's going for something, then and you can get him before, then that's the way to go. But once he already has it in his mouth, then he's a little confused about what you want. Or
Right, so what happens is if a dog has an object in its mouth and you tap them, more often than not, it'll speed up the process. So if he's got a chicken bone, he's gonna want to eat it really fast. So in that kind of case, I just jack it up 127. Hey, thank you. Sorry. Motor trainer. Tap him and he just spits it out, okay? In case of an emergency, maybe picks up a big piece of dark chocolate, very toxic for dogs. Jack it up, right? You can even do 127 continuous, right? He's gonna shriek, he might even poop himself, but it's like, don't eat that, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. If it's, oh, you got a stick and I wanted to dissuade you from it, we do this approach, a bit more patient, okay? We'll go to 28. So the confusing part for Hopkins here is he was laying down, you popped him on 28 and he goes, whoa, that's a lot of power. So he breaks from position, but he spit out the stick. Now to clarify for him, hey, it wasn't the position, it was the fact that you had a stick. You keep him under pressure, and he thinks like, okay, what do I do? What's the answer? What's going on? He lays back down again, he goes, oh. So I was laying down, I started chewing a stick, the hit happened, I spit out the stick, and then I jumped up. This kept going until I went back to position. So it wasn't the fact that I was in the wrong position, it's the fact that I started chewing something. So as you practice this, what you would see is he goes to pick up a stick and you tap him, he spits it out, but he doesn't get up. That's how we clarify. Okay, but it takes the process of making the dog go back into it. And then like seeing that right there, most people would repeat the command, right? Or they'll try to help the dog or reset. Okay, and I go, no, make the dog think through it so that you get that result of, oh, I'm not supposed to chew sticks even though I'm laying down next to a pile of them. Okay? That's how you clarify for dogs, okay? That's how they learn faster. And it's just being patient, okay? If anything, just having that foot on the leash, again, limits range of motion because you saw him start to buck back a little bit, right? So he may have gotten it like a couple seconds sooner, no big deal. Again, I make him figure it out. He goes back down, and now he's gonna chill it. Okay, so it's very simple. Complicated when you're first kind of learning it, but once you get the concept and you're like, oh, like okay, just make the dog think about it. There's no rush for anything unless it's an emergency, and then just play with your numbers. The higher the consequence, the more likely the dog is not to repeat it again. Okay. Now I don't want to blast them on 100 for something this minuscule. Yeah, exactly. Because then it's gonna make them super paranoid. So it's gradual, right? But I'm not too worried about, you know, if we choose on a stick or whatever, not a big deal. If it was chocolate, then I have to obviously make a decision. Go, I care more about the chocolate than I do about the fact about making, you know, nervous about the position.
He got something the other day. He got sick. We had to take him to the vet. So.
Sure.
Yeah, eating stuff off the street is definitely something we want to stop.
Yeah, there's we have fenced in yard, so there's like a funny thing. I guess it's not a huge problem, but so I have him loose in the fenced-in yard, but I have, you know, it with me. And he went to go grab something, and when I clicked it, he immediately came right up by my side, like he was like ready to heel, even though I didn't say anything.
Correct. Yeah, he was defaulted.
Yeah. Okay.
So we wouldn't praise that. Because,
Right. I was confused more so.
yeah, because that's what he's associating, right? Because obviously at our facility, like he's not like picking stuff off the ground. Right? He was either playing, he was under command, or he was training, right? So your life is going to bring more context to him that what we didn't get. So he's probably thinking, like you said, oh, heel, right? But we don't praise there because we want him to learn it was just don't do that.
Right.
Right? If you praise him, then he ends up thinking, oh, maybe they wanted me to come to them, right? So he ends up doing that more. Does that make sense? So if, let's say we're walking with Hopkins off leash and he's going to eat goose poop and I tap him, I really just want him to stop eating the goose poop, but keep his freedom. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if he comes to you and you praise him, then every time you tap him for goose poop, he's going to think, I got to go to mom or dad. You want to tap here? Right. And there you go. See how he thought about it? But he didn't get up. And all you did right there was settle. Yeah, forget about it. But I like that he didn't get up, but he was thinking about it, right? In the whine, I really want to. But the reason why he whined and not just got up was because 28. Now the brain's in a different mindset. Do I want to really get up and risk that 28? So then I go, well, here's 28 anyways, just for even whining to play with the dog, okay? The more black and white you are with Hopkins, the better it may be, okay? People tend to let that stuff slide. But then the staring to the whining becomes lunging and barking.
Yeah.
So it's like, let me play, right? And then that's a different thing. So again, that was you being proactive and preemptive about it. I'm not going to let this escalate past the 1, okay? And then I like the fact that he took the hit, kind of adjusted a little bit, but then boom. So then he learned it's not the positioning, it's the fact that they didn't like me whining with the dog pass. Okay? So you can do a lot with e-collar. Like it's very, the conversations that you can have with your dog are very nuanced. It's just a matter of like practicing it.
Yeah.
Okay? Other questions?
No.
So let's go ahead and tell him break. And then now we'll leash him up. So we'll make our lives a little easier. Break. Okay. And then you can go to leash him up. Now he's free. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe he wants to lay down. That's fine.
Yes. So technically, if he's under a down command and you say break and he stays in that command or positioning, technically that's okay. Okay?
It is what it is.
Very good. And we'll move with him over here. That's a nice open space. So, in the video, do you remember how we go about the recall?
Put a little, you have one person at one end, one at the other, and you put a little pressure on that one. And do you say something before you, or do you just tap and then you lead them towards?
Right. So we have the cue, right? So we'd say count.
Yeah.
And we're actually past the point of having tension, but we want to transfer this stuff to you, of course, right? So,
But you would take this.
yes. And we're going to keep it at that 28, okay? Here, when Hopkins is moving towards you, I want you, if you can, to reel in your leash to shorten it as he approaches you, okay? Don't worry about getting it all taken in. You're just shortening it as you go, okay? So what we're going to do here is you're going to say, Hopkins, come. And then you're going to start tapping on your remote and moving backwards simultaneously, okay? As you're moving back, if he's not moving already, at some point tension's gonna kick in, right? Because we're moving away from each other. Once it kicks in and you see Hopkins, or even before it kicks in, if you see Hopkins moving towards her, you're going to let your leash go. Okay. The reason for the second leash is at some point he's going to get savvy to the exercise and he's going to start prematurely running over you. Okay, so it doesn't allow us to practice it. If you say Hopkins come and he starts going, you're still going to tap. Okay, at least one time. Okay, so again, Hopkins come, tap, tap, moving backwards. He starts moving towards you, you're going to stop tapping and you're going to move backwards 3 steps. Okay, and then stop and let him arrive. Okay. And then if he overshoots it, I'll explain that part, but we'll just focus on the initial. So again, Hopkins come, tap, 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 tap. He moves towards you, we stop, good. As you're reeling in your leash, good boy, break. Okay.
Right, Hopkins, come.
Back, tap, back, tap, tap. Let go of your leash, back tap, back tap, back tap, back tap, back tap. There he goes, good. Right there. And praise. Good. And break.
And break.
Good. Let's do a few more.
Break.
So I let go of the leash pretty soon then.
Right when you start to see him moving towards,
Okay. I let go.
right? So now you can see why we have it, right?
Yeah.
Let's go down to 24.
Hopkins, come.
Yep. And back. One. Good. Right there. And raise.
Time to reel it in.
Good.
Boy.
Break.
Boy. Break.
Good. Nice. Good. That's a little easier. There you go.
Ready?
Yeah, let me get him. Sit down. Sit.
He's like, I'm ready to run.
So up, tap,
Sit.
and relax. Now wait a moment. Relax. We're gonna wait a second right here. Okay. So you see how he's getting edgy, right?
Yeah.
He's getting a little worked up, but you want to make sure we settle him first
Yeah.
before going into the next one. When you do practice this, don't try to drill it. You know, come. Because every time you stop, he's gonna go, right? So then adding a little bit of a gap or space between each recall helps him get the concept of I only move when I hear this word. I don't assume to just go.
Right.
Okay? You ready?
Hopkins, come. Break.
Good.
Break.
Break. There he goes.
Give it a little time.
Yep.
Hopkins.
Yep, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yep, because she's starting the cue, right? You okay?
With just Hopkins, it's okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Now here, back, tap, 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 move back, tap, tap, back, tap, tap. Good. Wait, right there. Good. We're gonna pause right there. So,
Because I didn't tell him the B word.
correct. So, Hopkins is, it's gonna follow with come, right? Is I'm looking for that response. So I love his speed and I love how quick he's responding within the cue. Right? Hop, kick, ooh, I'm coming. Right? Because in real life, let's say Hopkins is chasing after a squirrel or another dog and he's playing. If you don't have that move, that immediate 180, he's gonna keep going forward. Right? So the fact that he's kicking in so early with like, oh, I need to respond is beautiful because in real life, that's what's gonna make it applicable. Right? If it's Hopkins come and then like he's still going, right? There's a delay, okay, now I'll come. That delay allows him to keep chasing, allows him to keep with like the dog is running with, right? So you're wanting immediate 180 response the moment you start chewing that word because he's really tuned in on what you're saying, okay? Then, like you pointed out, you didn't say the B word, right? So, but he prematurely broke because he's thinking, I know this game.
He's memorizing it.
Yes. So right there, we don't say come again. You just start remoting and moving backwards. And what we're teaching him is when I call you, you come to me and you stay with me until you hear this word.
Right.
Okay.
It's very black and white, it's very cut and dry.
Tag.
Exactly. Okay. Now go into the release.
Break.
Good.
Break.
So now he's going to be a bit more cautious. Go ahead and walk forward with Hopkins. Towards Kelton here. See if you.
Break.
Yep. There you go.
Can I use any like body language? to
Yeah,
come
that's
over
fine.
here?
That's fine. So that caution that you saw there is good. Because if you were to have Hopkins off leash, that caution of wanting to leave your body is what prevents him from just booking it for something he sees 40 feet away. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and change it up a bit. Let me have you angle out more that way. And pause for a sec. Now go for it.
Hopkins, come.
Yep, beautiful. Now wait a second. Let's see if he prematurely leaves. Tap. Back, tap, tap, tap,
Walk
tap, tap,
backwards.
tap, 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 tap. Right there, good. Good. And same thing, just wait a moment. Just wait there. Hey, come. Would you, don't say anything, but just walk like around Hopkins. We're gonna see if like when he sees you, if he'll prematurely break. Tap. Tap, 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 back, back, tap, tap. Tap, tap, back, back, tap, 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 tap. Keep going. You got it right there. We're at 24, right?
Yep.
Let's go back to 28. Good. Try it again, Kelton. Go ahead and move a little bit closer. Good. See his tail wagging. Yep, now turn. Back, tap, 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 tap. Keep back, tap, 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 tap. There he goes, right there. Tap, there you go. Let's go to 34, tap, 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 tap. Yep, bump it, tap, tap, tap. Tap. There you go, tap. What's the number now?
50.
Okay, we're gonna keep it there for now, okay? If he yips, we'll dip it down. And now break.
Break.
Good. So you can see right there, to help you clarify, not to leave you, right? We're putting distractions in play here, okay? And it's that simple. The moment he goes, moving back and you're remoting without saying anything, and we're using power now, so that ideally, it shouldn't even happen in the first place. It's, I call you, you're here. I don't care if it's mom, dad, squirrel, rabbit, dog, grandma, whatever. You're not leaving. Okay? Break. Good. Good. Go ahead and bring him over. There he goes. Attaboy, good. We'll try that a couple more times. Yep, you got it. Right here, tap. There we go. Tap. Back, tap, 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 tap. There you go. Good. Go ahead and pause here. Would you move just straight towards him, Kelton?
Yeah.
Good. Right there. Try baby talking him. Good. Break. Good. We'll try one more. Right. Good. 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 Move towards him again, Kelly. And baby talk. Try crouching down. Right, now back, tap, 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 keep back, tap. Watch your legs. There you go. Good. Try crouching there. Try baby talking. Good. And break. Good. There you go. Yeah, boy. Good. Let's go and bring him closer this way. So little things like that, right? To help clarify for him that when I call you, you do not leave. Very important for like dog park stuff, right? If the dog park, you play with other dogs, you call them, you come back, go back, play with the dog, kind of back and forth. We'll go ahead and actually we'll swap handlers. So we'll give Kelton the end of the long leash with the remote. Okay, what number are we at now?
44.
Okay, that's good.
He yelled at 50, so I turned it down.
Yeah. So when you call Hopkins, his response is really good, but Hopkins humps and he's still gonna get at least one tap in, even if he's booking it. Okay? Whenever you're ready.
Hopkins, come.
And back. 1, 2, that's good. Back tap, back tap, back tap. Careful with your legs. There you go. Back tap. Move backwards for Camille. There you go, right there. Good. And a boy. Now, right there. See how that's confusing for him? You switch, exactly. So just a moment ago, remote went, go to you. And then we flip it, so he's still stuck on I want to go to mom.
Right.
So that's why we do the long leash stuff, okay? When I work with clients, this is really good because it's teaching them to learn to detach from a body, okay? So one time you call is if you're here, Hopkins is there, I'm sorry, Hopkins is like past that, by that tree, and there's somebody in the middle. If you call him, he'll most likely run to the person in the middle. Because he's thinking the faster I get to somebody, the faster that I don't have to worry about this, okay? So if that happens, I recommend you just issue another call because technically for the dog, they think they completed the task. Does that make sense? Yeah. I went to somebody, but it was just the wrong voice, okay? If you try to remote him to get him off that person, you would see that. See how he can tuck me in her legs? If you try to get in closer, right? That's why, so for you, if that happens, you just move backwards so that you remove yourself from the picture, and then the tension will guide them back to Kelton, okay? So same thing if that happens at the park. You know, you want to have practiced this so that if you call him off to somebody, it should be easy, okay? Worst case scenario is if you go to someone and you don't want him to like, jump all over him, just go and grab it, okay? But if you practice this will help him learn to be that person, okay? Questions about this as well? Okay, let's try 4 more. Break. Break. Start walking forward. Both of you. There you go. There you go. That a boy. Good boy. Good boy.
He's all tangled up. Hopkins, come. TV and then sitting when he comes back.
So that's gonna be the next thing.
Okay.
Is when you call him, he's supposed to do that automatically. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is when you call Hopkins, he arrives. Wait for him to settle, which is this. Boom. Okay. If he doesn't, you're gonna give a tap to get him to do so.
Okay.
You might see confusion, and you might see him go off.
Okay.
You would then go to
Walk back and tap this. Yeah.
correct. He comes back. Wait a moment. Tap. You put his butt down. So we're creating confusion here because he's thinking, is this meaning going to the other person, right? But we want to clarify for him, just like earlier with the down, how he made those mistakes and we kept the pressure on to work through it. We're doing the same thing here, just different things. Okay. So the intention is he should sit, but you wouldn't say it verbally, okay? Because it's one package. Come to me, put your butt down when I call you.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll try that now. Right.
Okay. One question. Is there a particular side? Should I like the left side or just anywhere back?
For me, to make it simpler, anywhere on the immediate body.
Okay.
So like right, he says between your legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's recall. Okay?
Okay.
I don't want him landing over here.
Okay.
I want right, left, front, back.
Yeah, he generally does sit in the middle. I like him.
Yeah. So, but like let's say he landed on your right, but he's right there. Technically not right. Okay. Now, if you wanted specific spot, then it becomes like, if I want the left side, I have some kind of tree in my left side to get him to target that, right? Or if you like that he lands in the middle, every time he does that, you would simply feed it because he already gravitated to that. Does that make sense? So you're rewarding only when he lands in the middle, and eventually he starts to go, oh, I like going here because that's where I get fed. Make sense? Yeah. But technically, does it need to be side specific?
Okay.
To make it easier for you guys. Okay? Other questions? Break. Break. Good. Break. Yeah, the boy.
Hopkins, come.
Yep. Yeah, the boy. Now let's try this. We're gonna do the same thing that Kelton did, Camille. You'll move towards him, kind of baby talk and all that stuff. Right, now back, tap, tap, yep, back, tap, tap, tap. There he goes, good. Good boy. Try it again. Back tap, 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 tap. Good. Good. One more time. Good. Now cue the break. Yep. Break. And move forward. Break. Attaboy. Good. So if you see them get stuck like that, right? Because we're putting rules to things.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going to see things like that caution. Now you should play like earlier with the down.
Yeah. And so yeah, when I say break and he doesn't move, maybe just start walking.
Start moving forward, right? And then
So he knows it's
yeah, right.
released.
And I might even like kind of tease up my body language. Because I'm like, oh, okay, cool, I'm off the top.
Right.
Okay? And the caution, it sucks in the sense of like you just want to go be free, right? But it's healthy because that's what it means. It means that this stuff actually is important to him. He doesn't want to make mistakes, right?
Yeah,
So
break goes through just walking right on the person. Yeah, that's good.
yeah, we'll do a couple more. Yeah, boy.
Hopkins, come.
Yeah, boy. There you go. We'll do one more. Very good. Nice. Go ahead and bring Hopkins over here. All right. So now we've transferred essentially that recall to you. Okay. Now it's how do we make this realistic? Because that's not realistic. Right? So, where do you guys live by?
Lakeview.
Lakeview. Okay, so you're just up here. You guys close by the lakefront? Yep. So like where the golf course range by Diversity and the Lakeshore, like right there.
We're closer to like Addison.
Addison? Is that more? That's more north, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. But do you still have the path of the trail?
Yeah.
You do? Yeah. So, I know here by like Diversity where the golf course range is. Does he like squirrels or anything?
Oh, he loves birds.
He loves
birds he likes.
Okay, like geese and stuff.
Oh,
Just
small
small birds.
small ones.
Small
but
ones?
Yeah. Once you get them.
So, lakefront, squirrels, raccoons, rabbits, occasional coyotes, birds, geese, right? So if I have a dog that's prey drive and they like people live in the area, I'll tell them practice over there.
Okay.
So let's say you walk with Hopkins, you're on a short leash, right? Heel, walk to the lakefront, then flip them to the long red leash. Hopkins break, and you want to hold on to the end of that leash. Okay? And now you're just letting Hopkins be Hopkins. He roll around, sniff the ground, chase things, whatever. He's on his own time. Okay, just holding on to that. And then, like, let's say you see like a flock of birds, and maybe like stalking them, or hey, what's that? Bouncing around. I let him do that, okay, for a couple minutes. The longer he does that stuff, the more disconnected or disengaged he gets from you.
Right.
So I tell people like kids playing video games. They're playing video games. Mom's like, go clean your room, or go clean the dishes. And then 15 minutes later, the kid's still playing. Like, they're like, oh, so just clean the dishes. Like, I didn't hear you, right? Because they were so tuned to the video games. Same thing for the dog, right? So the more he's doing that, the less he starts thinking about you. So then 3 minutes into it, it's come, pop, 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 right? Runs around, I'm here, good boy. Then I wait. Are you going to be tempted to run back to that distraction again, right? Just like he did with you guys. If he does, you correct it like you did with each other. He comes back, you wait a moment, okay, break. Go back to chasing the birds again. So you're using it as a distraction and you're using it as a reward, okay?
Right.
Now when you practice solo, or in that sense, you want to make the recalls infrequent. Because he'll get so paranoid that he won't leave your side.
Okay.
When we do it, when it's a tag team, you can force the disconnect. And there was a couple when you walked away, I don't know if you saw him, he like looked back because he wanted to already go back to Camille. But since you had the leash, you could force it like, no, you're not going to go back, right? But if it's just you working in that kind of sense, he's not going to leave your side. So if I go for like 30 minutes, I might let him have the whole 30 minutes to be a dog, and then call him one time at the very end. Okay. Then the next time I'm there for 30 minutes, and I call him 3 times. Then the next time, 1 time. The next time, 5 times. Right? Okay. I'm randomizing it, but I'm not drilling it out 100 times, because then again, he'll never leave your side. I'm trying to create a balance of comfort, but control. Okay. Recall tends to take people the longest to like master, because it requires you to go somewhere. Okay. So the long leash in this phase, you have it until you feel fully confident of he's going to come back when I call him. Okay. You guys go to the dog park?
Yeah.
You do?
Time to time.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's no close by, but yeah, time to time.
Yeah.
Okay.
He gets hot real quick out there, so I mean, yeah. But we take him as much as possible.
Okay. If you go to the dog park, and let's say it's 20 dogs, okay, really high level distraction. If you tried to call them in that setting, I would do that. Okay.
Real close.
Real close.
Disconnect.
Yes, right. So one thing I keep in mind is if I make one thing harder, I make something easier. Okay, so it's harder to use 20 dogs. Easier because you might figure it out. Okay, and all you need is that short little, that little return. Repeat that 50 times, and then you start moving it away. I wouldn't be right off the bat, Hopkins be across the park. Go here.
Yeah.
Right. You have to build to that. Ideally, you would go when there's like a handful of dogs. There's distraction, but not too much distraction, because you yourself as the handler, if you call Hopkins, technically, if he doesn't return, you have to figure it out and make him do it. Technically, okay? But you're not going to have that skill set quite yet because you're learning this tool still, okay? So I would suggest make it very easy on everybody so that we don't get into frustration and you get more success in detail, okay? The other thing you have to think about is other people, right? So like, let's say you call Hopkins, and you remote him, and he gives a little yip, and he he doesn't know what to do, and then you got to own him going, "Oh, you're doing your dog," and then it becomes a little bit more complicated. Okay, so with that in mind, doing it, making things easier helps you gradually get to that point where it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about it. Okay. Now let's talk about realistic contexts when we absolutely need to be called to work in case of an emergency. Okay, it's not about going to step on your or grab your short leash. And what's our number right now?
44.
Let's go down to 28, and then give them a down.
Don't tap it yet. Just
Yeah. So go your foot first. Now the down.
down.
Yep. Yep. There you go. When it comes to emergency scenario, it's not about being logical in the sense of gradual increase in pressure. It's about make it happen. Okay. So I had a client like before I think we even started the recall, their dog took off. And they're like, "Hey Jesse, we don't know if this was right or wrong, but the dog took off. We didn't have recall, but we just jacked up the collar, and the dog yelped but ran straight to us." And they go, "Technically, don't want to do that because of potential dog running off, because it doesn't know what to do quite yet.
Right.
But it was an emergency, so it's kind of like it's either you lose the dog anyway, or you gamble getting the dog back, and maybe come to the same conclusion as if you didn't, right? So in their case, the dog came back, 127, continuous, right? Dog shrieks, ran 180, and I said that's technically correct, right? Because it's either that or gambling. What's going to happen next, right? So it would suck, and it does suck if you have to do that, but you have to think about the potential of if Hopkins runs towards like the street, yep, and potentially gets hit by a car or what have you, or gets lost, right? That's what we don't want to happen. So emotionally it's difficult for people because you're up there and it's stressful. You're worried about your dog, maybe your dog is yelping, things like that. So just have that in mind. If you ever come across, that's why we do this, and we practice it. Okay, so ideally, if something happens and maybe it's just like 70 and I pop him as I'm trying to go up, he responds to the 70. Excellent, right? We didn't have to go to extreme. Okay, because with the extreme, there's always potentially pushing your dog further, and you have to keep that high pressure on until it's like, no, that you don't want to go that way. You're gonna 180. So like I had a dog many years ago. It took me 3 times of 127 continuous. The dog was booking it. Right, we were with the client. The dog was booking it towards Michigan. And 127 continuous. The dog jumped up and spiraled, hit the ground, and kept running away. Again, jumped up, spiraled, hit the ground again. And on the third one, finally the dog went, hit the ground, and 180 back to us. Right? And it was the craziest, most stressful situation.
Yeah.
But that's how I made it work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that never happens to you. But I, not on an irregular basis, get clients, my dog took off after, a squirrel, a rabbit. They're at the dog park and all of a sudden the dogs just shoot off. They were chasing each other and they just shoot off away from the group. Like all these scenarios. And you're just planning for being proactive, not allowing that to happen. Like here when she said cat because he was whining, right? That's being proactive. Right. Because then let's say we ignored it, and then we get too involved in this conversation, and finally goes, all right, if I got the line, just books it, right? And we're not paying attention. So you doing that keeps them at that 0 to 1 that we're most likely not going to see the escalation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So questions about any of this stuff?
No, good. Yeah. Yeah, the recall sounds
Okay.
Yeah, I think going to half would be a good idea where there's that field.
Yeah,
I agree.
for sure. Just like letting him be a dog and stuff like that. And then I think by Addison it's actually like a tennis court, right? And then there's,
There
like, a
are
little
tennis
parking
courts,
lot.
yeah, but there's like a lot of like field area before the water and stuff.
Correct. Yeah. So I've worked with a couple clients in that area. I know there are raccoons for sure.
I don't know if he's ever seen this before.
Yeah. So let's say you're doing great. The next step to progressing this would be like you take him and you have him doesn't just drag, but you're staying near it. Okay. So that this way he doesn't get too tuned in to always seeing something in your hand. Now it's like there's nothing in my hand and I need to come back. Okay. So I would just hover by the end of the leash so that if you need to, it's easily accessible to step on it. You do want to be mindful of grabbing the leash, because if he's taking off and it's feeding through your hand, it will cause rope burn. Okay, so I'm going to send you a couple of videos on long leash handling to show you how to handle it correctly so that we prevent that from happening should he decide to just hook it. Right, so like earlier, because you had it on the handle, you got a little jolt, but if you would have held it in the middle, I guarantee you that would have been feeding through, and it would have been not pretty. Okay, so Hopkins has place, sit, down, heel, come, and stay. Okay, I think last class we did down, heel, and the place command. Is that correct?
I think we did discuss the place.
Yeah.
Place was like go to the bed.
Yeah, it was like the bed area.
Okay, so to help you differentiate, use place when you're gonna be when you want control, but you don't want to be too tuned into Hopkins, right? So like if you go to a patio for like brunch or something, and you don't want to have to worry about is Hopkins in perfect position, right? Place is simple. Just drop a towel. Place you can sit, stand, lay down. It's easier. But if you down him, this is down. There's no exceptions to this. So as you're eating your meal, if he sits up, you have to stop and correct that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, we have
For down you would, for place you wouldn't have to correct.
Correct.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like place is more like if you don't want to have to worry about being so tuned into
Yeah.
Hopkins,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more easier because it's simple. It's just don't get off of you.
Yeah, I've been trying it with that because we have the same kind of bed that you guys have, that like elevated bed thing. So I've been trying that with him, but and it works for a minute. But as soon as I like turn my back-ish, or he sees that I'm not paying attention, he just kind of closes off.
Your number. Okay. When it comes to testing, okay, it's all down to the number. So if you're at 20 within the home, let's say he does it, but then he doesn't keep doing it.
Right.
That's the problem, right? So like earlier with the breaking from him prematurely, we went to 44, 50, whatever, right? And then very quickly you saw him learn like, oh, I don't go, right? So when you're in the home, when you place him, if you put it, let's say we start at 20 and you walk away and he gets up immediately, then I was 24, right? 28. Every time I correct him, 32, I'm just escalating. Eventually 40, pop, he goes there, okay. And then you're walking around for 30 minutes, he's not moved. Then you go, you leave the room, you come back 20 minutes later, he's not moved. Now you know 40 is what's making him respect the command and perform it. Okay? So whenever you're struggling with anything, it's either we're too low or we're doing too much. Okay? It's very simple. Okay? So anything that you work with them on, if you're like, man, Hopkins, you're taking a lot of corrections, you're too low.
Got it.
Okay? And don't worry if he yips. Okay? If you go from like 20 to 40 and he yips, then go down to 30. 35. It's just fine too. If you get too tuned into like trying not to get the yelp, which I get, right? You're not going to make any progress because you're going to be so hesitant, right? I make very quick progress because I know dogs bite each other. Like this is nothing close to a dog bite. It's not going to kill them, right? It's just a muscle contraction. So I'm very quick to escalate. That's why I get results really quickly, and so my dogs don't press boundaries with us because we go there right away. Whereas with the owners, it's getting uncomfortable to go there because they feel bad. Maybe they feel like they're hurting the dog, something like that. So then once they get over that concept, they're like, you know what, the dog's a jerk. They just need firm discipline. Then they get comfortable with the number. Yeah. But anything that we've covered and that he knows is simply the number. Okay. Other questions?
I'm good. I think I'm good. I think we need to go out and get, maybe I do have some questions. With the food rewards, you just use those, I don't know.
Like how would you apply it?
Yeah.
Sure. Let's say you put Hopkins in the down. He doesn't move for 20 minutes. At the end, good? Great. Okay. I wouldn't be fitting intermittent.
Like right at it, yeah.
At the very end, once he completes the job.
Okay.
Right? So just like with us, we work, then we get paid. Right? So same thing here. He's going to work, then he gets paid. Okay. So like if we did a recall, he comes to you, and you do all that testing stuff, he doesn't move, good. Okay. Then you feed, right? So then it's clarifying for him, if I don't make any mistakes and I do this like this, I get something at the end. Let's say he does make a mistake and you correct it. Then I just correct it, but I don't reward that particular one. So then it helps him start to differentiate. Okay. So let's say you're going on your walks and maybe Hopkins is struggling with the auto sits. Then when you're walking with him, when he sits on his own, you feed it. If he doesn't sit on his own, you tap it. Okay, so you're reinforcing it one way or another. It's either if you do it, I'll pay you, And if you don't do it, I'm gonna remote you. Okay? So it's a balance between both. It's not necessary. I tend to stay away from it with owners because it's too much a lot of times. But you guys now have like at least 2 to 3 weeks of practice that you're fairly comfortable with how remote works, that you can start to integrate it if you'd like. Okay. But I don't want you to become reliant on needing that.
Right.
Because ultimately, like, if he's running away after a rabbit, treats are not going to make him come back.
Yeah.
Remote will. Okay, that's how I look at it.
Yeah. So, just a good boy for some occasions and a treat for some as well.
Yeah. If it looks too complicated, good boy is the easiest.
Yeah.
Right. When I do praise obedience, I do keep it dialed down like a boy, because people tend to create a lot of energy, and that makes the dog excited, which then makes it harder for them to keep the obedience. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's about mental state. So now he's sitting, and now he's like really revved up because you're like, oh man, that's a lot of energy. Right? And it's like, where's that energy gonna go? And then it's harder for the owners to control the dog like that. Okay? You want to be proactive. You always want to be a step ahead, right? So if I know, like, maybe you see your friend coming across the street and your friend likes to say hi to Hopkins, I'm already stopping Hopkins to sit. I have my leash short in case he makes a mistake. So he's already under control. So when my friend comes to greet him, he should be here in a passive state, right? You might get a little excited when the friend pets, but I'm proactive because I already have him in a position. Most people wait for the, sit. The dog's already lunging.
Yeah.
Okay? So you know Hopkins better than I do within the context of your life. Just start thinking to yourself, like, okay, like, we know this happens and we want to dissuade it from happening. How are we proactive? Okay. You're also gonna get moments in life where you can't be proactive and it just happens. Then it's, how do I stop it, right? So if I came around the corner, I was like, hey, Hopkins. And he's like, yay, and he just jumped up, it would just be cap. Don't jump, right? And then once you correct the jumping, then you can move into sit, boom.
Okay.
And then it's, now you can tap the dog. Okay. So like for instance, with the stick chewing, and then right now with the whining, it was just, don't do that.
Right. So to eliminate behavior, just tap, don't even say anything.
Correct.
Got it. Yeah, I think we've been messing up when he does jump on me when I get home from work. I'll say like down, whatever, off, and messing up there.
Yeah. So technically, he thinks he can jump on you until you say off. Okay. That's how dogs' brains work, right? So when I walk in, if a dog jumped on me, I'd either do the knee correction or just do a very firm side bump, and you might even get a yip. But if he jumped on a dog and they didn't like it, they bite him, right? And then he goes, oh, I don't jump on you, right? So then what he's going to learn is when Dad comes home, if I try to jump on him, I get a correction from him, no remote. Okay, so for stuff like that, you don't need the remote. You can use your body, but you have to be comfortable being physical. You're not trying to be mean, you're trying not to be aggressive, you're not trying to be abusive, but it's a correction similar to a bite. This is easier because it's disconnected, right? You can press a button and you can correct it.
I try to have the remote handy when he comes home, so I can.
So that's another thing you can do. It's just using your body.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll try using the body. It's I like that he's happy to see me when I get home, but he has like tackled me into the door before. So
he's still gonna be happy. He's just not gonna tackle me.
Yeah. Okay.
My dogs still approach me and they're like wagging and stuff like that, but they give me space because they know that if they were to jump on me, it's boom. Okay. And if he like falls back and it's okay. Like, I know you're not a jerk. You're not trying to be a jerk. It happens. Okay. But if you get too concerned about it, and then you're like, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. Now you've just negated your correction. When really, maybe that correction was the one you needed to finally teach him, like, all right, don't jump on that when he comes home.
Right.
Okay? So, dogs are very different in thinking the way humans are. I just tell people it's all about your energy. You're not coming in like, goddamn dog, sit down, right? You're not doing that. You're not being overly aggressive. You're only applying it because he's jumping on you, right? And he can potentially knock you down and hurt you. I've had people break hips. I've had people break wrists, shoulders, dislocate elbows, break fingers, because their dog is too friendly and pulled too hard on the leash, or like they came home and knocked them down. I had one dog with a particular couple broke both their hips and broke the husband's arm.
Oh my God.
Because it was like a 60 to 70-year-old couple with an 80-pound boxer mix, right?
Oh yeah, well.
And he was super friendly. And yes, I was like, why would you get a boxer mix, right?
That's my fear too, that he's going to jump on. That's why we did the training, jump on someone on the street, who's older, then we'll knock them down. Correct.
Okay, so it's all about being proactive. You're not being mean. Again, you're keeping him safe, you're keeping others safe, you're keeping yourself safe. Any other questions?
I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay. I believe you still have session or so.
I think so, yeah,
In
because we
terms
just
of hours.
did 2 1 hours. So.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you get an amount of hours of work. So whenever you're ready for Maria, you can contact her and say, hey, we'd like to schedule another one. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll think about some stuff we want to work on since we've covered the basics now, I guess.
For sure. And there's no timeline for it, you know, so don't feel like they're going to expire.
Yeah.
You know, practice this. Yep. Yep. There you go. Yep, take your time. Yep. 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 Yep, yep, yep. There you go. Yep, almost. Yep, yep, yep. Go ahead and bump a little bit. Go like under remote. Yep. 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 What's your number now?
I took it up to 44. I took it down before.
Okay,
so now
gotcha.
it's 44 again.
Gotcha. And you see how he did, and he didn't like really jump because of like the fur and stuff. So yeah, don't feel like there's a timeline on when you have to get them scheduled for. You're more than welcome to like give yourself some time, practice the stuff, and come back and like say, hey, this is where we're at. Okay, great. This is what you do. Or you just schedule this. Okay.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you
Awesome.
so much.
You're welcome. Don't forget your bag and stuff here.